In some fever dream, I don't even want to talk. Carmen Vitali, get in here. This game was so gross to me, and I'm sure you're one of those. Oh, defense wasn't particularly great offense. Just I feel like I could have been Valentine doing my thing out there last night, or whoever. Great to see you. I've had this like weird PTSD flashback to when you on like New Year's Eve did my show with me for an hour, and we just talked about absolute nonsense.
Back and
Well, you're
forth.
smiling, so I think that means that you feel great. You're doing your thing for Marquee Sports Network, Fox Sports Saturday.
Yeah.
Let's get into this. Coach LaFleur asked about his job security. What's this conversation?
I've been one of the people that have been like, Green Bay fans are so spoiled, and anybody would kill to have the records that they've had. And for a coach like Matt LaFleur, who comes from the best tree, the most prevalent tree in the NFL right now. And it's kind of a conundrum this year. I keep calling them Jekyll and Hyde, because not from like the sense of horror movies or anything like that, but there's like this conservative aspect to Matt LaFleur's play calling, but then there's also some recklessness to it. And there's a refusal to use a kicker that I think everyone thinks is an answer here. Like, I mean, why aren't you trying that 50-something yard field goal instead of punting? I mean, what's the difference? I don't know. I can't make heads or tails of, Matt LaFleur's kind of play calling, his job security. I do think that if this doesn't pan out the way it's supposed to by the end of the season, there is a real conversation to be had, because on paper, this roster is good. And I know that there's been injuries to, obviously, Tucker Kraft going down was horrendous, and my heart is still broken because he was one of my favorite players in the league this season. But you have plenty of depth, and I need to see more cohesiveness when it comes to that offense, because the defense has really stepped it up. If we're like, especially in the pass rush.
Well said. Offensive line injuries, but it is inconsistent. It's almost like an identity crisis. What are you?
There's
Who are
no identity.
you?
There is
Look
no
in the
identity.
mirror. No, it's like let's run on every. I'm frustrated with these Packers, and it's only because you need to live up to your potential. You need to overcome. You need to show up in these big games. That said, they're not third place. And here come the Chicago Bears, who have won 5. Carmen, as you sit there in Chicago, 5 of their last 6, 4 of those wins trailing at the 2-minute warning. Caleb has gotten a lot of love from his coach, even his scrambling, his whatever. These clutch moments, this is his identity right now.
Yes.
What do you make of that?
Yeah, I mean, it's a hell of a way to live, honestly, because this is the team that gets down and they dig themselves into a hole in the beginning of the game. And then these fourth quarter heroics, I mean, Caleb Williams has talked to us multiple times now about how like his heart rate goes down and he's just like in this like Zen moment in the fourth quarter. And I'm like, can we work on doing that before you get to the fourth quarter? Because you mentioned that 5 of their last 6, they've won 5 of their last 6. Well, they've won 5 of their last 6 against teams that aren't doing so hot this season, and teams that are leaving the door open for them to come back and allowing them to hang around. But you look at that Ravens game from a few weeks ago, you go back to that Detroit game in week 2.
Right.
These are teams that have the offensive firepower to score points on you and get you into a hole that you can't climb out of. You have no hope of climbing out of. And I feel like that's we're going to start seeing that as the Bears continue to play, because their upcoming schedule is not as favorable as it has been the last 5 games.
It's very true. It's my favorite. It's a hell of a way to live needs to be the quote. That's it. And it is. And as somebody who loves to be put into a corner, and that's when I thrive and my heart rate goes down. Like I very much empathize with that, and I enjoy it. That said, we have like 2 minutes, so let's get our heart rates down. Let's win this game. I'm going to ask you: is Caleb the most clutch quarterback in the NFL?
I mean, statistically, he's got the most fourth quarter comebacks of any player in the league right now.
Get out of here. What do you think?
No. Here's the thing is I don't want to have to use that pressure against him. I don't want him to have to be under that pressure to move the ball down the field. And like the thing that's been maddening to me is he's got an incredible amount of talent. Ben Johnson is an incredible offensive coordinator. Bears have the most explosive plays of any team this season, by the way. And it doesn't feel like Caleb trusts the play call every single time. And that's where I'm like, there's no rhythm to get into then. It's hard to call a game if you're Ben Johnson, because it's just, it doesn't kind of sync up. And when Caleb is kind of creating. Now, those explosive plays, a lot of them have come up off script. And you do love that about Caleb's game. That's why he was the first overall pick. And in a bind, that's exactly what you want. But you also want to be able to see him still operate this offense fully. Now, the good news is it's early. This is still, the first, we're not quite in the first half of the season, but Ben Johnson said they weren't going to be playing their best football until December. And I truly believe that. And if they can hit that stride and start getting into that rhythm and maybe not get in these holes early in games, and Caleb can move the ball down the field kind of methodically, then I'm sold.
I feel like we found a highlight. You didn't really answer my question. I'm disappointed in your answer. I just wanted you to say he's the most clutch quarterback in the NFL. It's not a bad thing to be. I love that. Like, let's go for that. Your boy Bo on that list. I think Baker on that list. We saw a highlight though that is made for Carmen Vitali. This Bears tackle, Darnell Wright. I don't know much about him, but what a clinic in Queen of the Trenchland against the NFL sack leader Brian Burns, who I know a lot about. Can you talk me through this?
This is why you tell offensive linemen, or you stress pad level with offensive linemen, because the strength out of Darnell Wright, first round pick a couple years ago out of Tennessee, he has the strength, but he's also using his leverage from below Brian Burns to just take him out with one hand. I mean, that's incredible, but it's also an incredible understanding of leverage, where his power comes from, how to utilize that. Ben Johnson calls Darnell Wright his unicorn, and I honestly don't think it's going to be long before we see Darnell Wright with the ball in his hands. That's what I'm predicting down the stretch of the season when this offense starts to get even more creative.
Last one for you. Let's take a look at the NFC playoff picture. You know this division. Obviously your time in Tampa, all of that. 3 teams in the NFC North are in. How many end up making it?
I wouldn't be surprised if it's all 3. I mean, we've seen it happen. So I really think that, the Bears, this is a bonus year for the Bears, right? So if they even flirt with the postseason, that is an incredible success to me. I think this is still the Lions division, provided that they can stay healthy. The Packers, we talked about, I don't know what to do with them, but they have to figure it out. I mean, and if not, Matt LaFleur he's coaching for his job down this stretch. And I think he knows that based on what he said after the game last night. So I do think that it ends up definitely being Detroit and Green Bay. Again, if Chicago even flirts with it, that's incredible. That's great for the first year under Ben Johnson.
And our Bucks cannot flirt anymore. It's a must-win game for them.
It is.
In week 11. I forget who it is, but it's a big one, and they better freaking win. Carmen, love to see you. Watch her all over. Oh, it's the Bills. Let's see if they fire their quarterback by then. Bye.